Alright, for the situation we have on hand, I've got LMDE on a 256 gig SSD, and I want to move it to a 1 terabyte SSD. That way I can do my QEMU and my distro box and all the fun stuff and have plenty of room. So I loaded LMDE to kind of revisit, see is this something I want to keep, and it is. Again, I'm coming back full circle to Debian 12 Bookworm under the Linux Mint branding for stability, reliability packages. I mean, it's hard to get any better. So let's take a look. Here's our inventory. We're going to boot to it and run Clonezilla. I've already got the drive is prepped. I'll take a look at that with Gparted. And I use Gparted to prep the drive. Right here, this is our primary boot drive. 230 gigs is available to our operating system, our LMD6. This is our inventory drive, and this is our 1 terabyte that we're going to copy to, and it's ext4. I deleted all the partitions and formatted it. Didn't need to, but I did. Let's take a look, see what disk is showing. 1 terabyte. It's not mounted. That's fine. No, it is mounted. Okay, I can unmount it. You can see it disappears from the list. I can mount it. It comes back. Unmount it. In an unmounted position, we can format the partition, etc., etc. There's only one partition, and during install, of course, your OS will create whatever partitions, format them to whatever's needed, etc., etc. So I got the drives. Let's mount that back so it shows. So there's our network drives. This is our 1 terabyte. It's plugged into USB. There's our inventory boot drive, and there's our boot drive that we're currently working on. So we're going to go from 286 meg to 916 meg, 916 gig. Wait, no, 286 meg. 226 gig, excuse me, to 916 gig, and give us plenty of room for growth, etc., etc. So let's reboot. We're just going to do restart, and I'm going to go into my boot menu. At the appropriate time, I'm going to spam F11 and go into inventory and run Clonezilla. Clonezilla has always been fail-safe for me. It's copied numerous Linux operating systems. It's copied numerous Windows 10, Windows 11, back in the day Windows 7. So I want to go to the Sidenote. That's the hardware interface that my inventory drive is on. I'm going to go to Clonezilla. Let's boot in normal mode. VGA is fine. This is going to take a while. I'm going to go ahead and let it record and maybe do a little fast forward. on it while it's doing its thing, because it's going to be a while. Default, enter Clonezilla, and I want the second one, work directly from a disk or partition to a disk or partition. So I want to copy from disk to disk. And because they're two different sizes, I don't have to look at the SD number or anything like that, try to figure out what's what. Beginner mode is fine. Disk, local disk to local disk clone. That's what I want. I want to clone the whole disk, the partitions and everything. So what's going to happen is it's a 256 gig SSD is going to be cloned to a 1 terabyte SSD. Now it's not going to do anything for the partitions. It's still going to be a 256 gig sit up on a 1 terabyte drive. And once we did the clone, we're going to have to go on the Gparted and stretch our partition so it uses all the free space. We'll do that after we're done with this. So choose a local disk. The 1 terabyte is going to be our destination. I know that 256 is our source and the 128 is our inventory drive, so let's do the 256 as a source and the 1 terabyte as a destination. Skip checking, repairing, use a partition table from the source. If you try to do anything else, you're just asking for a headache. Choose reboot when finished. Enter to continue. Do you want to continue? Yes. Are you sure you want to continue? So it's going to err on the side of caution. It's going to be like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Because this is destructive. Whatever's on my 1 terabyte is going to go bye-bye. Now I'm thankful for my HDMI capture box. It allows me to capture all the HDMI, including your BIOS menu and your terminal level and everything. Is just really been a big boost to me being able to do a presentation. I'd previously been using a GPU screen recorder, which does a fantastic job, but it didn't support, of course, boots or anything like that, and that's part of what we do. So we're looking at 3 minutes remaining. Let's just hang out and wait for that. So we got the transfers finished, and it's got some housekeeping to do. And Clonezilla is kind of a wrapper for another app for which the name escapes me, but Clonezilla kind of makes it to where you can do your drive clone and you don't have to make decisions for all the smaller details. It's quite a bit automated for you, and that helps considerably. Even in a IT environment, if you were running some version of Windows and you wanted to transfer it to another drive, it would still behoove you to use Clonezilla rather than any of the paid apps. It's always been successful. Just follow the process just like I showed, and you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Alright, so we're going to power off because I am physically going to remove the 256 and plug the 1 tera in place of it. And naturally I need the machine to be off to do that. So I'm taking out my test drive, unplugging 1 terabyte WD from the USB adapter. I'm plugging it up to the main SATA of the bare metal. Let's go ahead and boot up. And this first time we'll just boot right to the drive, and I'll show you what we're looking at. Boom, there it is. That's one 1 terabyte drive booting LMDE6. We just transferred it. It's a copy. With one small hitch. Your keyring has been hosed. So when you go to your browser, all the stuff that you had saved before, all your saved logins, they're going to be gone. Here we are. Let's look at disk. And there's our boot drive. And you can see our free space. Alright, we got 744 more gig that can be used than we didn't have before going to a 1 terabyte. But how do we get there? How do we get that free space? Well, unallocated space. Now you cannot do partition manipulation on a mounted drive. And this is our boot drive. This is our mounted drive. We can't unmount it. So how do we do this? How do we get that? Alright, so we're going to reboot. Just wanting to do update stuff. So we're going to go back into the boot menu. We're going to boot off our inventory drive. We're going to run Gparted. We're going to take care of that. Spamming F11. Let's go back to our inventory, and I want Gparted. We can boot normal, defaults. We're almost there. Hang on. Don't touch my key map. 33 is English. run Stardex, I want a GUI. I mean, why run command line if you can run a GUI? Everything is going to be much easier for you. Let's open this up a little bit. Alright, so there's our inventory drive. Alright, there's our boot drive, unallocated space, and then there's our primary ext4 partition. Now how do we fix this? We want this to take up all that space. Let's go to resize and move, and look right here, drag it, resize, move, click your apply options. I'm not sure how long this is going to take. It shouldn't take too long because there's not a lot of data. To expand a partition doesn't take much time. To compress a partition, it takes more time. It's doing some stuff to keep from losing data, and the technical aspects of it you'll have to look elsewhere for explanation, but we're almost there. So grow from 230 to 923. We're almost 75% done. We'll exit out of this, boot into our main drive again, take a look at disk, take a look at Gparted there on a live session, on the boot session, and verify that's what we got. All operations successfully completed. Close. Don't really got to close that. Double click exit, and I'm going to do a shutdown. I don't want to do a reboot. I just don't want to. It says remove media, which is going to be my inventory drive. Unplug it. Here we are. We've shut down. Power up. Let's go to a boot into our new 1 terabyte drive. Booting up. There it is. Let's go to disk. What we got? Look at that. And we're only 9.6% full. Got 896 gigs available. There it is. Easy peasy. Just follow the steps and you'll do fine.